Friends, of course, here to bring you the latest from the world of news, but beginning with the headlines. Rwandan President Paul Kagame joined fellow African leaders in Gabon to witness the swearing-in of the President Bruce Ngwema, who pledged to tackle major economic and social challenges after securing 94% of the national vote. Rwanda's Corporal Chantal Rwampire is making her mark on international peacekeeping as one of the many female soldiers deployed in the Central African Republic, proudly driving military vehicles and advocating for gender equality in security forces. On the international scene, Israel has conducted an airstrike near the Syrian presidential palace following drill clashes. The strike came amid escalating clashes between pro-government forces and Druze fighters near Damascus, which have left dozens dead. Again, many thanks for joining us for RTV News. My name is William Evans, and of course the news in details. President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, joined other African heads of state and government at the inaugural ceremony of Gabonese President Bruce Ngwema. The swearing-in took place at the Stade André in Libreville, the capital of Gabon. President Bruce Ngwema was officially elected in the polls held on the 12th of last month, securing a landslide victory with 94% of the vote. In his inaugural address, President Ngwema reiterated key promises from his campaigns, including reducing Gabon's youth unemployment rate, currently estimated at 40%, improving road infrastructure, and tackling the country's foreign debt, which currently stands at 80% of their GDP. President Ngwema has previously visited Rwanda and held bilateral talks with President Paul Kagame. His most recent visit was in August last year, where he participated in Rwanda's presidential inauguration ceremony. Rwanda and Gabon enjoy ongoing diplomatic and trade relations, particularly in air transport, with Rwanda Air offering direct flights to Libreville, Gabon, and of course Gabon is one of Central Africa's resource-rich nations, known for its oil, timber, and mineral exports. And now, for Corporal Chantal Rwampire of the Rwandan Defense Forces, operating military vehicles is a peacekeeping is more than a peacekeeping mission. Isn't just a duty; it is a symbol of Rwanda's progress in gender equality. After 9 years in service, she is proud to be part of a generation of women who are breaking traditional barriers and contributing to international peace and security. Corporal Rwampire is currently deployed in the Central African Republic as part of Rwanda's ongoing peacekeeping operations. She is responsible for driving military vehicles, often armored carriers, and she says that her role possesses no challenge to her as a woman, and she says that what matters most is her seeing fellow female soldiers taking part in peacekeeping just like their male counterparts. Bongwai, the capital city of Central Africa, has become noticeably safer and more vibrant, even at 9, thanks to the large part of the Rwandan peacekeepers. Locals move freely without fear, and with Rwandan forces visibly stationed across areas of the city. Corporal Rwampire says her decision to join the army was driven by a passion for national service and a determination to challenge the stereotypes that once held women back from military careers in Rwanda. She encourages young girls to embrace the broad range of opportunities now available to them in the country. The impact of Rwanda troops in Central African Republic extends beyond security. According to the leader of Bangwai's 5th arrondissement, the presence of Rwandan peacekeepers has helped restore daily life and reopened key roads connecting the capital to other parts of the country and neighboring nations. Economists emphasize that the specific strategies implemented by the government of Rwanda to boost the economy should go hand in hand with preparing individuals who possess the necessary skills across all economic sectors. This aligns with the data from the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, which shows that the service sector contributed 48% to Rwanda's GDP in 2024. We do have details. According to the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, in the first quarter of 2025, the service sector accounted for 42% of employment in the country. Method Research, a specialist in economic statistics, explains that these figures indicate a significant impact on the national economy. The service sector continues to grow every day. This shows that people are gradually shifting from traditional jobs into the service sector. Faustine Mwambari, Director of Labour Research and Employment Promotion at the Ministry of Public Service and Labour, confirmed that as the service sector expands, it creates more opportunities for new job creation in Rwanda. This shift in employment has led to a creation of new jobs. We are currently creating around 330 jobs per year, up from 150 jobs annually. This change is largely driven by the emergence of sectors that provide decent jobs, increasing employment rates, and delivering positive outcomes. Economists also stress that implementing targeted economic growth strategies must involve training and equipping individuals with the right skills across all sectors, explains Stato Habyarimana. Let us take the service sector, particularly tourism, which is currently blowing. If this sector has sufficient labor, the real question is whether other sectors have enough skilled labor as well. The necessary skills should therefore be taught to targeted groups, tailored to meet the demand of each sector in terms of job creation, labor skilling, and capacity building. National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda data further shows that the service sector grew by 10% in 2024. This growth was primarily driven by an 18% increase in the wholesale and retail trade and a 9% rise in transportation and logistics. A new health bill being reviewed by Parliament has ignited debate over whether teenagers aged 15 years and above should be allowed to access family planning services without parental consent. While civil society organizations argue it is essential for reproductive health, some lawmakers warn it could encourage risky behaviors. We do have details. This debate is unfolding as the Parliamentary Committee on Social Affairs continues its review of the proposed legislation. One of the most debated provisions in the draft law allows teenagers aged 15 and above to seek family planning services independently. While some stakeholders support the idea, others have voiced strong opposition. Civil society organizations working in health say the measure is timely and necessary. This is one of the solutions. I am not saying it will completely solve the problem, but it will address some of the key issues. For instance, it will help create a safe and confidential space where children can talk openly with doctors. Early pregnancies may not disappear, but the number of those getting pregnant is likely much lower than those who are actually sexually active. We should remind people that giving children this freedom does not mean parents are stripped of their responsibilities. Parents remain the primary caretakers. If a child gets sick, they will still need to take care of them. Others emphasize the importance of children's right to privacy when accessing health care. Children might ask to speak to doctors in private, even when accompanied. We are not advocating that children be left completely on their own, but they should be given a chance to exercise their right to privacy when needed. Forcing them to share everything publicly may cause them to withdraw important information. However, some members of parliament remain concerned, saying they fear granting teens access to contraceptives without parental consent could promote early sexual activities and increase the risk of sexually transmitted infections like HIV. We need deeper research on this issue. If teens can avoid pregnancy but still risk contracting HIV, what are the real consequences? Some say they fear pregnancy more than AIDS. We must consider how to keep our children safe while also preserving our African values and cultural heritage. That matters too. The proposed law gives individuals aged 15 and above the right to independently access sexual and reproductive health information and services. According to the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, 22,454 teenage girls were sexually abused and became pregnant in 2024, a number that underscores the urgency of this issue. Health officials urge that existing strategies like promoting abstinence and condom use have fallen short. They now support granting adolescents easy access to contraceptive services as a more realistic and effective solution. President of the Rwandan Senate, Dr. Karinda Francois Xavier, joined residents of Chanika sector in Nyamagabe district to commemorate the Tutsi who were killed there during the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. He reassured Rwandans that the government remains strong and committed to defeating anyone who dares to revive or promote genocide ideology. In Chanika, many Tutsi had sought refuge at the Catholic Parish Church and in the priest's compound, and according to survivor Nikuze Marianne, the victims there not only faced brutal killings but also extreme suffering, including being denied water, which led some to die from thirsty. Nikuze survived after crawling away from the Nikuze survived after clawing away and credits her recovery and rebuilding of her life to the post-genocide government of the National Unity. Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Bizimana Jean Damascene, highlighted that Chanika holds a historical significance, having witnessed early signs of genocide during the 1963 massacre known as the Christmas of Blood. As part of the 31st commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in Chanika, 53 bodies were laid to rest. 2 of them were relocated from previous burial sites, and 51 had recently been discovered across different areas of the sector. Dr. Karinda emphasized that the proper burial of the 100 days of commemoration serves to honor the dignity of the Tutsi victims and to reflect on Rwanda's history to prevent the recurrence of the genocide. He reaffirmed that the state has the strength and resolve to confront and eliminate any threats of genocide ideology. The 53 bodies buried at Chanika Genocide Memorial now join over 40,000 other victims of the genocide against the Tutsi who were laid there to rest. The leadership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Kigali has emphasized the importance of remembering the genocide against the Tutsi as a way for believers to renounce evil and educate young generations about the atrocities of the genocide. This message was delivered during the 31st commemoration held at Remera Adventist Church, where the community remembered former members of the church who were killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The event began with a moment of silence and the lighting of a flame of remembrance and hope. Survivor Kaluyondo Bernadette, who lost 9 of her siblings, along with both parents during the genocide, shared her testimony. She spoke of her continued journey of healing and rebuilding her life after surviving such immense loss. The commemoration was marked by musical tributes from choirs, including Ambassadors of Christ and Abagenzi, who stood in solidarity with the church during the event. Pastor Karasira Gerald, head of the Eastern and Central Africa field based in Kachiru, urged believers to actively remember the genocide so they may turn away from evil and stand as witnesses to the truth and righteousness. During the 31st commemoration, the Seventh-day Adventist members expressed gratitude for the peace and freedom of worship they currently enjoy in Rwanda and extended appreciation to the national leadership for ensuring security and unity across the country. Now, the Free Methodist Church in Rwanda has urged Rwandans to recognize that remembering the genocide against the Tutsi should serve as a foundation for learning and fighting against genocide ideology. This message was delivered during the 31st commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and the commemoration began with a prayer service held at the church's main cathedral in Gikondo, where testimonies were shared, a flame of remembrance was lit, and the historical context of the colonialism and ethnically divisive leadership that led to the genocide was explained. Bishop Samuel Kainamura, the church's spokesperson, emphasized that remembrance should help strengthen the country's efforts in combating genocide ideology. Ngabo Brave, permanent secretary in the Ministry of Youth, called on religious institutions across Rwanda to understand the deep importance of remembrance and to take an active role in preserving the truth about Rwanda's history. Umuremyi Stephanie, a genocide survivor from Gikondo, expressed hope and confidence in the significant progress made in social cohesion and unity among Rwandans. The Methodist Church in Rwanda particularly commemorated its own members who were killed during the genocide against the Tutsi, of whom they had sought refuge in that very cathedral. Tomorrow News, Rwandan youth say that combating the ideology of genocide, along with denial and minimization of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, requires a multilingual approach. They urge that as denial increasingly comes from outside Rwanda, using multiple languages is essential to ensure the truth is heard globally. Enora Gladys reports.
Some young people highlight the opportunities they have been given through education in the country and emphasize that they should use the different languages they have been taught to confront those who distort the nation's history.
Rwandans, we are privileged to have an education that exposes us and gives us an opportunity to learn more languages than just our mother tongue. So I think that that is a privilege that opens us to the world, and we are able to hear what other people from different sides of the world are talking about. So that also brings a responsibility to us to use the same languages that we are able to that we know, different ones, to address different things that are being spoken about our country. I feel like it's a good privilege for young people to be able to express yourselves with the education you were given and put that to use to support your country in different ways.
As Rwandan youth who are privileged to know other languages other than Kinyarwanda, we should use the opportunity that we got to fight against the genocide ideology, either through writing books, either through using social medias to fight against those who spread genocide ideology on social medias, and as well to explain more and use what we have as a knowledge to teach people about the true genocide ideology, the bad things of the genocide, the impacts that it had to Rwanda, and how we can fight it.
Since the people who are having this ideology are not only Rwandans and also the Great Lake, the people in the Great Lake region, so we're going to use, first of all, we're going to communicate to them. We use social media accounts, different social media, be it Twitter, be it Instagram, be it any social media. So we're going to use the social medias to tell the true story.
Using social media is one of the things that define the youth, but they also point out that they should use these platforms to fight against the distortion of the truth using the languages they learned in schools.
As young people, we have to know that when we talk about the country, it's us that we are talking about. So when they're speaking ill about your country, they're speaking ill about you. So, and as any other person, when people are speaking ill about you, you should defend yourself. And I think we can use the social media platforms. We use them often for different purposes. So we can also use it as a way to defend our country, to preserve the dignity and the sovereignty of our country, and to also express our patriotism and our love to the country by going on those social media platforms that we are on and trying to devalue or dismiss any lie that is being spoken about the country. When we are silent and other people are loud about what the lies about our country, we are not helping. We are actually helping them. We are giving them a hand. And I'm sure we don't want to do that. So the best way to not do that is to go ahead and negate every lie and say the truth about every lie that is being spoken. And let's be bold. We are the voice that the country has. Yeah.
For the people who are spreading genocide ideology from the Great Lakes region or from our neighbors like Congo or Burundi, I think we should use our voice to tell them about the truth, because I've seen some guys going viral on TikTok and Instagram talking about how Rwandans cry more about the genocide, but we're not crying. We are saying what happened, the way the things happened, the true story of what happened in this country. So those who want to spread that the genocide did not happen, we should use our voice as Rwandan news to tell them the truth and not to spread the false information about the genocide that happened here in Rwanda.
The Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement encourages young people to learn and use multiple languages to combat genocide denial, especially because the 2022 census showed that youth under the age of 30 make up 65.3% of the population. This means that the youth form the majority, and if they are not taught the true history of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, it could have serious consequences for the country's future. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
To more news, residents of Kabarore town in Gatsibo district are celebrating expansion of infrastructure, especially the construction of new roads, which they see as key drivers of development. Local authorities affirm their commitment to further enhancing infrastructure across the town as part of a broader effort to accelerate the district's development. Although Gatsibo is traditionally known for agriculture and livestock farming, the district is also investing significantly in commercial development, largely made possible by improved infrastructure. Kabarore, regarded as the district's main town, has already benefited from the construction of 5 kilometers of paved roads. This development has not only improved mobility, but also sparked a surge in commercial building projects. Residents said that the infrastructure has increased the value of their land and opened up new opportunities, particularly for youths who have launched various income-generating activities. In addition to the existing paved roads, the district's vice mayor in charge of economic development, Sekanyanje Jean Leonard, announced that the visibility studies are underway for more road expansion aimed at attracting greater investment to the district. These infrastructure improvements are widely seen as a strategic step towards supporting local businesses and facilitating the transportation of agricultural produce and dairy products to the markets. Farmers and coffee processing workers in Musanze sector, Kirehe district, say that working with coffee has transformed their lives, enabling them to meet their daily needs more comfortably. According to district authorities, coffee is among the key cash crops that have brought noticeable improvement to the livelihoods of the local residents. Kainamura Justin, a coffee harvester, praised the country's leadership, saying that both he and his peers are grateful for how the crop has improved their standards of living, and many have been able to invest in livestock and find solutions to daily challenges through the income generated from coffee. Professional coffee farmers now view the crop as a highly profitable venture. And for instance, Nyiramahoro Teopesta owns around 32,000 coffee trees and employs between 80 and 100 seasoned workers during harvest periods. In addition to farmers, workers at small-scale coffee processing facilities say that the jobs created have had a positive impact on their lives as well. Nzirabatinya Modeste, the vice mayor in charge of economic development in Kirehe, confirmed that the coffee has brought significant change to the district. Kirehe district is home to over 8 million coffee trees and 15 small coffee processing plants, producing around 1,500 tons of processed coffee annually. The Kalonji District Administration has announced that infrastructure development aimed at transforming Kalonji into a secondary city supporting Kigali is expected to begin in 2026. This was revealed during a media briefing held by district officials. Since 2021, Kalonji has been designated as one of Rwanda's secondary cities, along with Muhanga, Huye, Musanze, Rusizi, Nyagatare, and Rubavu, plus others in the eastern province. However, both residents and visitors frequently express concern over the city's inadequate infrastructure, particularly poorly developed residential roads and unplanned housing sites. Locals are eager to see tangible improvements. Despite these challenges, Kalonji has experienced rapid development compared to the pre-genocide area. For instance, it had only one guest house before 1994, but today it boasts of 17 operational hotels, some of which are highly rated. Still, compared to other secondary cities its infrastructure remains underdeveloped. During the media interaction, Mayor Gerard Muzungu stated that major infrastructure development plans are nearing completion and implementation could begin as early as next year. Kalonji's scenic location along Lake Kivu gives it a natural advantage for tourism and quality of life. The government's broader aim is to strengthen secondary cities like Kalonji to reduce migration to Kigali for work and residence. Current statistics show that only 27.9% of Rwandans live in urban areas, with a national target of 70% by 2050.
turakwibutsa ko buri sosiyete isabwa n'itegeko kubika ibitabo bya sosiyete ndetse no gushyikiriza RDB amakuru abikubiyemo. Ibyo bitabo birimo igitabo cy'abanyamigabane, icy'abagenewe inyungu ku migabane, inyandiko y'amakuru ya sosiyete, ibaruramari ngarukamwaka n'izindi. Gutanga amakuru y'ugenewe inyungu ku migabane wanyura kuri bo.rdb.rw, naho gutanga izindi nyandiko ukanyura kuri org.rdb.rw.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi harabamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza harabanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashisha, ariko byaragiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
Mvangiye kukubarira 1 2 3 itugwamo. So 1 2 3 gwamo. One girl.
Mbere kanda akanyenyeri 3 4 5 akanyenyeri 2 urwego maze nawe ugwemo.
Ndanezero umunezero nsaba umutima, ndakora akazi kanjye ndacatinga data ntizishira enda nawe gwamo
wikwisondeka.
Let's continue our bulletin to the international scene, where Israel has conducted an airstrike near the Syrian presidential palace following Druze clashes. The strike came amid escalating clashes between pro-government forces and Druze fighters near Damascus, which have left dozens dead, and Euronews has the details.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Friday condemned Israel's ongoing attacks on Syrian territory, calling them a violation of Syria's sovereignty. Speaking at a news conference, a spokesperson for Guterres said the UN chief was following the tensions in certain areas of the Syrian capital, Damascus, with concern.
I can tell you that he condemns all violence against civilians, including acts which could risk inflaming sectarian tensions. In this context, he also condemns Israel's violation of Syria's sovereignty, including the latest airstrikes near the presidential palace in Damascus. It is essential that these attacks stop and that Israel respects Syria's sovereignty, its unity, its territorial integrity, and its independence.
Israeli authorities say the strikes on Syria were a warning to the Damascus government not to harm the Druze minority following recent sectarian clashes with pro-government militia forces.
President Zelensky has rejected Russia's three-day ceasefire proposal, pushing for a one-month truce instead. The Ukrainian president has insisted on a month-long truce in accordance with a proposal tabled by the USA. Euronews continues.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has rejected Russia's three-day ceasefire proposal, calling it, quote, theatrical. Putin had proposed a ceasefire from the 7th to the 9th of May to coincide with Moscow's annual Victory Day parade, which foreign representatives have been invited to attend. Zelensky instead suggested a month-long truce, saying that reaching an agreement in just 3 days would be impossible. He also told reporters on Saturday that Ukraine cannot guarantee the safety of those attending the parade in Moscow. Separately, at least 47 people were wounded in Kharkiv after Russian airstrikes hit Ukraine late on Friday, according to local officials. This latest wave of attacks comes after the US and Ukraine signed a minerals agreement on Wednesday. Meanwhile, in Russia, a Ukrainian drone strike injured 5 people in the Black Sea port city of Novorossiysk, according to its mayor.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says that Germany is a tyranny in disguise after the AfD verdict. The decision to label the AfD as right-wing extremist is staining U.S.-German relations, and the Trump administration has criticized the behavior of European governments towards right-wing populists. News continues.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called Germany a tyranny in disguise after its intelligence service labeled the far-right Alternative for Germany party as right-wing extremist. Rubio's comments made on the social media platform X drew strong backlash from Germany's Foreign Office. They replied by saying the decision was a result of a thorough and independent investigation, and that Germany has learned from its history that right-wing extremism needs to be stopped. The label now applied to the AfD will allow authorities to monitor the organization more closely. Meanwhile, critics, including AfD leaders and their US supporters, say the move is politically motivated.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has been re-elected for a second 3-year term. His centre-left Labour Party is set to win a second term as opposition leader Peter Dutton loses his seat. Euronews once more.
Australia's centre-left Labour Party has secured a second term in office in a landslide election victory. The country's incumbent Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, is now set to be in office for his 3-year term. In his victory speech, he thanked voters for choosing, quote, optimism and determination.
Today, the Australian people have voted for Australian values. For fairness, aspiration and opportunity for all.
Leader of the opposition coalition and of the Conservative Liberal Party, Peter Dutton, who lost his own seat in Parliament in Saturday's election, has conceded defeat. Both parties acknowledged during the election campaign that the country faces a cost of living crisis, with energy policies and inflation being key issues.
Of course, that story brings us to the end of tonight's edition, but before we go, let's have a look at the headlines one more time. Rwandan President Paul Kagame joined fellow African leaders in Gabon to witness the swearing-in of President Brice Nguema, who pledged to tackle major economic and social challenges after securing 94% of the national vote. Rwanda's Kopolo Chantal Vampire is marking her mark on international peacekeeping as one of many female soldiers deployed in the Central African Republic, proudly driving military vehicles and advocating for gender equality in security forces. On the international scene, Israel has conducted an airstrike near the Syrian presidential palace following Druze clashes. The strike came amid escalating clashes between pro-government forces and Druze fighters near Damascus, which left dozens dead. And that was it for News Tonight. I'm William Evans. We return tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Good night and take care.